Hola, ¿qué tal amigos de Cine en Línea? Los saludas, amigo Eliot Barrascaut. ¿Qué creen? El día de hoy nos venimos a un evento bien bonito. Sí, ya sé que siempre me dicen que vengo a eventos bonitos, pues que la verdad vengo a eventos bien bonitos para todos ustedes. Y el día de hoy estamos en la conferencia de Zack Snyder por el lanzamiento de la película Rebel Moon Parte 1, que obviamente llega en exclusiva a través de Netflix el 22 de diciembre. Entonces, pues vamos a hacerles así como que el pequeño y bonito recorrido de todos los personajes, los vestuarios, como pueden darse cuenta, vean, la verdad están bien padres, me encantaron, o sea, el diseño, sobre todo este está increíble, este es de los que más me gusta, no sé por qué me recordó a Groot, pero, pero bueno, ahí está, y la verdad está muy padre, la verdad me gustó mucho, vean, están todos increíbles y obviamente tenemos también la reseña de la película. Voy a tener que estorbarle al amigo porque estoy ahora sí que transmitiendo. Entonces, pues ya tuve que mover a un lado. Y pues así es, señoras y señores, Rebel Moon a partir del día 22 de diciembre en exclusiva por Netflix.
Hey guys.
Woo! Oh! Woo!
Good to be here.
Okay, so we're so happy to have you here. We're gonna wait a little bit for Sofía. You can take this microphone over here. All right. Oh. Okay, demos otro aplauso
This one?
a Sofía Boutella, por favor. Un fuerte aplauso.
Bravo!
Hi, Sofía, welcome. Hi, thank you. Hi, thank you. Hola.
Oli.
We're so happy to have you here in this really special press conference, and we want to thank all of the members of the press for being here to talk about this story that has taken decades in the making. So first of all, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for taking the time.
My pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
Welcome to Mexico. It's good.
Woo!
To start a little bit of a warm up, I'm going to start making a little bit of questions to get to know the film better. And Zack, you have portrayed like vast and really diverse universe in the cinema for almost 20 years. And you almost wrote like 500 pages of mythology for this movie. So we want to know, and I wanted to ask you, where does the imagery comes from, and what really drove you to tell this story?
Yeah, I mean, for this one, it's been kind of boiling for a long time. You know, famously, I think I've talked about it maybe being a Star Wars movie, talked about, you know, it as a pitch at school when I was in college. So it's been around. I think what happened with it recently is we finished Army of the Dead. I was talking to my partners at Netflix, and we were talking about, like, what do you want to do now? And I said, I don't know. Maybe we do a sequel to Army, or maybe I have this other crazy idea. And I pitched them, it's a pretty straightforward concept, it's very clean, and they were like, that sounds great, let's do it. So it was at that moment that I realized that there was going to be a ton of work to do. Because the problem is, I think, not a problem, but the challenge when you make a story like this is like a giant myth-building, world creation thing, is that, especially if there could possibly be, more than two movies, that there's like a whole universe, you have to start to paint the mythology in all the corners. You have to make it all, you don't want to catch yourself out, like where you don't have an answer to a problem. And I think that was, for me, the real work of this world. Like, we created a lot of the mythology, and by mythology I mean like real myth of the world, that the mother world's backstory had to be all figured out in order for you to understand what they wanted to accomplish it as far as their conquest of the universe, how characters like Sophia's character might get swept up in that conquest and then maybe turned into a vessel for their conquest. And so, these child soldiers or whatever they're doing, and so I had to make sense of why would they be doing that? I can't just simply say they want power or they want resources. I mean, you can't say that, of course, but there has to be a why, So in the sort of figuring out the why of the mechanics of the universe, you do a lot of myth building, world building. We did a lot of whether it be symbolisms, the symbols of the mother world's historical, and there's two periods that we had to sort of the pre-Belisarius period, and then Belisarius's sort of reign, which has only been a short reign, but how the iconology changes when Belisarius comes in. Belisarius ran to that. Anyway, the point is that yes, we did a lot of work, and but a lot of that work and a lot of sort of time we've spent with it has really paid great dividends, because the world, we haven't really come up against the thing where we contradicted ourselves. Not yet, anyway. I'm sure it's going to happen, but
It gave us quite complex stories to defend. It wasn't just a go-to simple, I feel like a lot of the time I see stories, it's copy and paste from one storyline to another, and I feel like this was pretty unique, even though it's a sci-fi, it's fantastical, it's beautiful, and it's we have it's about gathering soldiers to go and defend something, and then there is an entity that is negative, that is daunting us, but individually every single person has a very complex human story that I think is quite relatable.
And I think it's really clear that you really dominate from A to C everything about the universe. And Sofia, now that you mentioned that, I think that you are such a versatile actress. You have worked in many different genres and with so many talented directors and actors. So what was it about Zack Snyder's vision that really made you say wow, I really want to be a part of this movie?
Well, I was a big fan of Zack already. I remember watching 300 and being blown away about what I was looking at. And I remember watching Watchmen, and towards the end of the film thinking I did not want it to end. And I remember thinking I wish I'd never seen it so I could watch it again for the first time. And and when we had our first Zoom, just his enthusiasm, I did not know him as a person, and he told me the story from start to finish, exactly how I ended up reading it, and his just sense of precision and his care for the craft and his enthusiasm, he made me better as an actor, because he's just so good, so prepared, he cares so much, he loves what he does. It doesn't give you much choice but to come and excel and just do your absolute best.
Wow, and Sofia, we also know that you have portrayed and played other characters that know how to kick ass. We've seen you, and we know that you made most of your stunts in this film. Can you share a little bit how does the chorus physicality differentiates from other characters that you played, and how was it to make your own stunts?
This character is, she's a warrior to begin with. She was trained at such a high level. I haven't played a character who was such a warrior in the past, and I think I was trying to curate a little bit meticulously sort of my choices when it comes to action, because I didn't want to just do them as they come. I wanted them to be special and require my physicality for something that was going to be really good. And I was, in a way, I think I was excited and I was looking forward to what was the next project going to be. And I mean, it could have not been better than to do it with Zack, because he gave me the best platform to exercise that, because he not only can capture and shoot action scene, and he's the best, he's simply the best. And I wanted to go there and give my best and give my whole, because I know I can go there, and the fact that we can meet each other and deliver. I remember just observing, and he's so specific and looking at the shot, and I will go 1,000% and he will go 1,000%. And I think that I feel like it just made so much sense. Sometimes it's hard when you give your body, even for stunt guys, for example. I could have not done, I did, a lot of my stunts, most of them, and Mel, who doubled me, had a big part in doing that, because they have to set up the shot, and they have to rehearse with camera a lot before calling the first action. and that's something that saves you from, you know, getting hurt while you're practicing the camera, and they observe you constantly, they give you note, they watch behind the monitor. So even though I did all my stunts, like I could have not done it without my double, and she was extraordinary. The whole stunt team was amazing. They're the first one to arrive, the last one to leave. They work so hard, they get injured, they never complain, they always show up. They're extraordinary, they're incredible. So yeah, it just helps and facilitates everything for us, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, it's really a joy for me to have an actor like Sofía who, because, you know, what happens inevitably when you're making shooting the scene and say in the scene you need to use a stunt double for whatever reason. You know, I don't know if you watch a lot of movies, which you people obviously do. But like, you know, the double, they'll get punched and fall on the ground. And then they'll have to fall and they'll have to kind of cover their face with their arm or something like this, you know, do some kind of weird thing. And you're always like, oh, okay, I guess. You know, but that's real because they can't, you know, you don't want to see that they're not the actor. And so there's always like a compromise, you know, there's a compromise maybe in the shot making, like I'll be like, oh, if we had the double fall away from us, you know, it'd be cooler, but of course it's not better for the drama because you want to see the actor, like what's going through what's happening. And having someone like Sofía, who literally, there was nothing we could think of that she couldn't do, was really a gift because then, you know, you don't have to compensate with the photography at all. You could just film it. You know,
I remember being on set, and I think Freddie was telling me, you can go rest, and then
Freddie's a stunt.
And they wanted to do something that I wasn't required. They could have done, and I was shouting for myself, because Charlie's like, no, I'm going, and I'm running to set to do it because I get very picky with like the clothes and continuity, and I'm like, no, it should be this way, or because and also the emotion that the character is going through. For me, it was important, like Zack was saying, that even that last fight scene with Noble, like to show the exhaustion, and I think it's important to show struggle because we're not superheroes. We're very much mortal. Yeah. I mean, you'll discover the movie, but we're mortal and we don't have superpower. And I wanted to show that, you know, the exhaustion, the pain, the struggle that it is, even though we were strong.
And now that you mentioned that you have learned how to move the camera and get the actors like perfectly in the shot, you also have directed so many films that have great like universes and complex, you know, like mythology. Was there something you learned during the process of filming those movies that maybe you applied to the process of this one, something that you have learned?
Yeah, I guess, you know, sure, I'm no stranger to exotic, you know, realms to photograph. But I guess the truth is that, I mean, the one cool thing about this is that, sure, I was prepared by the sort of world building we've done in the past for whatever it is, 300, Watchmen, Guardians of the Galaxy, for God's sake. You know, all of the things we've done have always been, I would say that, I don't think I've made a movie that doesn't have an art of book that goes with it, except for Dawn of the Dead. I don't think there's a Dawn of the Dead art book, although there should have been. But yeah, so the process of creating these worlds has always been a thing that we've really been super into, and very much, it was always like one of the reasons to make the movie for me. And so yeah, doing this was really that on steroids in every aspect. There was nothing that just happened. So it was really, I think everything we had done before this sort of prepared us for what we were doing on this movie.
You can see it just by the richness of the film, the multitude of elements that are in there, and how, yeah.
Yeah, and it's very particular tone. You know, I didn't want it to be. It's not like hard sci-fi. It's like fantasy sci-fi. So I really wanted to kind of capture this sort of, you know, I talk about it quite a bit, but this sort of, you know, it's like a Franzetta meets, you know, some sort of Mobius / I don't know what, but like there's a sort of illustrative quality that I was really trying to capture, sort of fantasy art, illustrative, slightly retro quality. There was like a sort of tone that I was looking for that wasn't easy to communicate, and we still sort of are searching for it, but as we go, it will evolve.
And now that you mentioned the complexity of the universe, there are so many creatures in here, like so many different creatures from different planets. Was there a particular creature or set that you really liked to be at? Like maybe you saw this person with makeup on set and that you really love watching them?
Well, I mean, Jenna's character, Jenna Malone, plays that big spider Hamada, and she's just fun. She's just a great actor and just super game, and it was really difficult, wearing the makeup and being in this weird cart. We had this weird cart that rolled her around. She had to fight from, because the stunt guys would move her. And like some of her legs, because she's a spider, the stunt guys would be in green, and they'd have to try and they all had to get together on that. But it was fun to watch her perform it, but it's also one of those things that as it evolves in the movie and finally we actually see the shots, it's cool to see because it's half and half. She's all prosthetic, but then her legs are CG, so it's cool to see it be completed by the other artists that we work with in post-production.
What about you, Sofia? Who was your favorite creature?
I have a lot of favorite creatures when we enter in where do we find Kai?
In Dax. Where?
No, Kai.
Oh, in Kai. In the Velvet Providence, yeah.
Providence. So there's this brothel that we enter, and there are a bunch of creatures, and I saw some of the most amazing. The woman with the horns, I love that, and I really like the tick. I thought it was so creative and genius.
A little bug.
Yeah,
But it's fun, Also, it's fun that it's a brothel. Yeah, I think that's fun.
And I think that's something that was crucial for the movie is the cast. So, Zack, which qualities were you looking in the actors to play these amazing roles? And specifically, what were you looking in Sofia that made her perfect to portray Cora?
I actually was very interested in having Sofia play the part before we went out to, how you do a big casting. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's Sofia, so, we can bet that. But if it makes everyone happy, we'll do whatever kind of casting thing you do. But I was pretty set on it. So, and I just think that she has this incredible sort of mysterious quality, but at the same time, she can be vulnerable but fierce. She can be, in the movie, she's very in charge, but she also comes from a world where she's had to be a subservient soldier. So the ability to kind of be able to capture all of those things in a single sort of form is really difficult, and also to sort of show progression of time, where she began, what she went through, things happened to her she was betrayed, I guess is a way of saying it, and then who she is now on the other side of that it's a lot, and it all is kind of in the movie. So she had to kind of be able to capture all of that swath of sort of emotion and character, and actually point of view, which is a hard thing to be. It's not just, oh, I feel this way. It's I'm a different person here because that thing hasn't happened to me yet. That's difficult. And she, and not to mention the fact that she, like I said before, had this incredible sort of physicality that we had to really, take advantage of, and we really, because the thing with Cora, I think, as a character, and that's the real tricky bit, is that she emotionally and in every way possible, she's also linked to her physicality. She's a warrior, so how she fights, the way she uses her body like a weapon, those things are part of her. And so in a lot of ways, just to do the character work, you have to be able to combine the two. You have to it can't be completely cerebral, although it has to be. It has to also be physical. What does that mean to me and my body and the way I fight? And if I'm hurt, like as part of my, part of the weapons that I have missing, and how would I adjust to that? So I think that, she has, for me, she had the whole thing. So it was great.
Amazing. Well, thank you both of you for your amazing answers. We know that you have taken a lot of time, creativity, and effort to make this epic film. And we also want to take some time to answer some questions from the press. We told them to send some questions a few days ago, and there were so many questions, but we tried to pick a few that might convey all the most interesting ones as well. So when I mention you guys, your name or your outlet, can you stand up or just wave? I'm gonna read your question, but to let know Sofía and Zack who you are. Okay, so the first question from the press is from Christopher Barrillado from Agatha. Is he here?
Christopher, no, he didn't make it. Usually they got my question, so I'm good.
We're gonna read his questions anyway. Okay, so his question is, what were the elements that inspired you to make this saga, and what reactions are you looking for from the audience?
I guess the elements are some of the things we talked about, whether it be these movies that sort of shaped me from the 80s, whether it be the graphic novels that I read, the sort of fantasy art from that same period that I'm really a big fan of. Boris and Franzetta and the whole group. I think that, those were the things that kind of inspired, that made me want to make this sort of visual journey. And then what I hope for from audiences is that they would get, some of the same things. When you see a fantasy film, some of the ways that it sort of sparks your imagination, says, I wonder what's behind that corner, what's over there, like, where did they come from, why is that thing made of what it is, like all this stuff that starts, and that's beyond the story, the story, of course, I want audiences to be immersed in the sort of drama of what these characters are going through and the world they're in and all that, but it's another thing to sort of inhabit this world, and I just think that I really am excited for audiences to inhabit the world and then, wanna, as the story continues, because it does, because Netflix allowed me to make 2 movies at once, so that was cool, and so you guys get to have this one, and then in April you get another one, so you get to sort of see where it goes.
There isn't one character that's left out. Every character has depth and a story and where they come from, and that you will get a chance to explore all of them.
And the audience can relate with each character in a different way, or more with one character than another. And so this is for Sofía. It's from Alejandra Mejia from Actitude Femme. Is Alejandra here? Okay, there's Alejandra. Hi. So I'm gonna read your question. It says, Rebel Moon makes the role of women visible, not only in history, but in the cinematographic world. What do you think is the greatest difficulty when creating leading roles designed for women?
I'm just going to say that this is my first leading role, so I have nothing to compare it to. And what an honor to do it with Zack. But I do think that I think that this movie is important because of that factor, and I think that Zack did it in such a way that it elevates women, that it empowers women, and in a way that was, I think, needed, especially in that genre, that I don't remember having seen. Or if I've seen it in just glimpses in some films, but never truly committed to the strength and the power and the capability and the mental complexity of a woman. And I'm honored with that, and I hope that it translates to many women and people and men also. Why not?
Of course. So this next question is for Zack from Entre Noticias CDMX. No sé si está el medio por aquí presente. Okay. So Zack, the question is, what challenges did you have to confront in order to make the action shots look so epic?
Well, the truth is that, look, my process is that, so I write the script, and then when the script's done, I sit down and I start to draw the movie, and I draw, for this movie, because there's two together, I ended up drawing, I think I drew close to 4,000 frames, you know, so it's a lot of drawing, and it's a lot of work. But the thing that's good about it is that, you know, when I arrive on the day to film it, I've kind of done it once in the drawings. And that's kind of what I use the drawings for. I pretty much will stay to the drawings, I'd say, maybe 75%. But the drawings also help you, like, it allows you to make other decisions because you've made that one, you know what that one is, so that's cool. But, you know, you also on the day can be like, because I know what that is and I know it's kind of works in sequence, maybe if we did something else or if I change it or if I see something that's different, I can adapt a little bit to that. So I guess my answer is that the sort of process that we go through to get to make these shots, and that is to say that I've written the script, I draw the drawings, and also for this film I was the director of photography as well, so it was a second exercise of once you've done that, I've done the drawing, now I really am tasked with the physical act of making this drawing come to life because I have to understand where the lights are going to be, what kind of lensing is going to be, what kind of equipment is going to be carrying the camera to allow us to make the shot that I've drawn. So the responsibilities stack up, but for me, I don't mind it because it's kind of a nice through line, takes you all the way to the end. And by the time you end up on set with the camera and everyone's looked at the drawings, everything's prepped, and everyone knows what they have to do to bring all the elements together to make the shot. It's super rewarding, and it's something in some weird way we take it. I don't want to say we take it for granted, but we've gotten to the point with the machine where I expect it, or I kind of through force of will have marshaled all the elements there. So when we go to do it, it's always and my crews and the people I work with are so amazing that there's never I have a hard time like throwing them a curveball. Like I can't say like, you know, it'd be cool. Wouldn't it be better if this happened? They're always very prepared. They're like, well, we thought you might say that, so we have this prepared. So it's always
They know you so well.
it's always really cool. Yeah, they know me too well.
I remember going to set and thinking, okay, well, it's true, I have to do the stunts and be prepared physically, but all I have to do really is just know what I am doing and learn my lines. And I show up to set and like nervous and thinking about Zack, who's producing, directing, wrote, and doing the DOP, and thinking where he might be, you know, in all that, with all the responsibilities that he has, and coming to set, and he was just trying to get a bottle, to make it in the trash and having fun.
I was kicking.
Kicking, and he was making most of the time, and I remember thinking, why you, but that's because of how much he prepares and how ready he is on the day, and it's not, I look at it and it's not just normal. He doesn't just sit around and do nothing. That's a long time spending time with his story, writing it, and being really prepared and ready when he.
Yeah, if I'm not kicking a bottle or a paper cup into a garbage can, then things are really
You should be concerned.
things are really
okay,
bad.
something's going on.
Exactly. But there are those days.